For the past couple days, I have been working on re-gearing this Dana 70. That's from my truck. It had 410s in it originally. The only thing I really wanted to talk about on this video specifically was the locker itself. A gigantic spool that will lock my rear axles together. I'll get a little bit more into detail with it. Basically what I'm going to tell you guys. As far as shimming on this thing, the shimming is going to take you a little while to get dialed in. Because for one, you have to shim the pinion too if you're changing gears. If you're just installing the spool, it probably isn't too bad. That's basically what this is for. Just assume that you already have a pinion set up and you're just trying to spool. Essentially, you're going to end up with a very fat pack of shims. So I bought the spool from East Coast Gear Supply. When you buy it, they include these little sleeve spacers because your 70 ring gear is going to use a 1/2 inch bolt and the 80 ring gears would generally use a 9/16. So they give you these tiny little sleeves so you can use your 1/2 inch bolts with this spool. And then they give you a whole bunch of spacers. Let me grab one and I'll show you. So this is the spacer that you're going to get when you order this spool. I don't need these. A lot of people don't end up needing these, but they do include them in case you have a big spread on your carrier. I'm not exactly sure if these are included for 80s or if they're included for 70s, but they come in a pack of 2, and for some reason they sent me 4 of them. So I have like an unlimited supply of these shims that I probably will never use, but it is what it is. It also came with carrier preload shims, so you got all your shims for shimming your bearings. Obviously this one it's getting new Spicer OE 488s, so we're not doing Yukon gears in the rear, we're doing full-on Spicer gears. Spicer quality is really good, so why not continue using Spicer quality stuff. I am doing a Yukon install kit because it's got all the Timken bearings and everything else in it, and I think it's a Yukon spool actually. I was going to order a nitro because they didn't have the Yukon in stock at East Coast Gear Supply, but then they ended up getting it about 4 days after I ordered the gears. So, alright, so this is my non-ring gear side shim pack, and I am at just over 1/8 of an inch. 0.130. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but yeah, 0.130 on that side. Well, hold on. I have another shim. It's a 10th shim. So we were at 0.140 really, because I had another shim. And that is the non-ring gear side. And on the ring gear side, which I'm going to have to change this, but this is just a basic idea of where you're going to be 143. So I do have a 3000 shim in that side, so that makes sense. All right, and that was the carrier preload. Now let me drop it in there, see where my backlash is, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so right now we're right around 8 thousandths of backlash. The spec I believe is 6 to 10, although I have seen 5 to 8. I like them a little bit tighter, so I'm going to probably add a 3/1000 shim and try and tighten it up just a bit more, and then we'll see how that shows up. Alright, and now our backlash is 6 thousandths. Alright, so 2 thousandths or 3 thousandths shim gave me 2 thousandths less backlash. So I assume roughly 70%. And now I'm going to run the pattern. As you can see, it's sweeping, doing what it's supposed to do.
and we're good.
So the final setup on this thing, I ended up with a 053 pinion shim, and I have 7/1000 of backlash. Pattern looks pretty good. For the non-ring gear side on the carrier shims, I ended up at 145 thousandths, and on the ring gear side, I ended up at 143 thousandths. And used the case spreader, and I was able to beat the carrier right in there, and it worked out pretty well. So that's that. As far as the gearing goes, I did paint my diff cover, and it's purple, as you can see. I just decided to paint it purple. Purple is my wife's favorite color, and I figured purple and green go together like the Joker, so pretty nice. I actually don't hate it, which is weird, but I don't know. I was just getting tired of painting everything green or black, so went with a weird color. Tomorrow I'm going to come back out here, and I already cut the shock tabs off the sides of the axle because I'm going to move them onto the spring perches, and or the perch plates, I guess I should say. I'm going to move them up there. It's going to give me a little more droop, and then that should be it. She is back in and under the truck. So a couple things that I wanted to mention. With that DIY 4x4 diff cover, I did have to knock the holes out a little bit to get them to line up, but not too much work. It bolted right on. The lube blocker gasket, pretty dope. Being able to reuse the gasket is awesome, and no RTV is also very awesome. I moved my shock mounts because I cut them off of the axle tubes and I moved them up. Now I have a lot more travel out of that shock. I've got about 7.5, 7 3/4 of an inch of up travel, and then the rest of that 14 is down travel, so we're right in the middle-ish area. I'm pretty okay with that amount of travel because I doubt I'm going to use it all either way. If that ends up being the case, I'll figure out something else, but for now that shock is right where it should be. Still got to build some bump stops for here. I got to build bump stops for the front too, so no big deal. I might just reuse the factory ones and extend them a little bit. We'll see when we get to that point. It's not super important. Brake lines, I don't know. I'll have to figure something out for the brake lines at some point. They work. They're fine. Those are brand new flex lines, but I'll probably fix it up. I mean, I don't know. It's just more project stuff to do. Up next, I want to do the front axle and get the new re-gear in there, and then get the locker, the 488s and the locker in that, and then that'll be done. I might do that one in the truck. I'm not sure yet. I'll just make setup bearings, and I'll try and do it in the truck because, for one, I'm very lazy, and for two, it's kind of a pain in the ass to take the axle in and out of the truck. Now that job's finished, I am enjoying some beers, chilling in the shop for a minute, and just wrapping up this video. So thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, so good.
Hello, I'm here for the free beer.
You got it.